Hey, in this video I want to demonstrate one of my specialties. It's a marinara sauce, and I use it on a lot of different recipes and in different places. I first learned how to make sauce from my grandmother. She was an excellent Italian cook. I also learned a little bit more from my mom and from my aunt. My aunt actually has a fairly popular cooking channel on YouTube. You should check it out if you get a chance. It's Mary Cooks on YouTube. Really entertaining videos. She's much better looking than I am, and she's much better at it. As far as low carb, tomato sauce sometimes is considered a forbidden item to have when you're low carbing, and that's because of the tomatoes. Tomatoes technically are fruit, even though I still think of them as a vegetable, so I think a lot of people do. And fruit does contain sugar in the form of fructose. But the interesting thing with tomato sauce, actually you can make tomato soup from it, low carb cooking, is you don't really need to use a lot. And one of the follow-up recipes I'm going to show you is my version of ultra thin crust pizza. And it uses just about 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce. So the total carbs, keeps you still under about 12 grams, which should be okay even on a ketogenic low-carb diet. And like I said, you can use it in a lot of different places, and still keep your total carbs down per meal. Tomato soup is one. I use it to make chicken parmesan. You can even use it on fish, and I put it on vegetables as well. Like if you're missing pasta, which I know I do, I was raised on pasta, and it was really tough for me to give it up, but just something I had to do in order to keep my blood sugar down. There's great sort of faux pasta recipes where you can make zoodles. It's just taking zucchini and using a spiral slicer. You can put sauce on that. I think the main thing that I found with missing pasta is really the sauce. So if you can just find some kind of vehicle to hold the sauce, eventually you can wean yourself off of the pasta. Okay, let's get set up and I'll show you how to make it. Okay, got my sauce pot here. It's heating up, just medium heat. And then what I'm going to do, put about a tablespoon of olive oil, EVOO, into the pot. And we're going to use that to saute some minced garlic. Just let that heat up a bit. Okay, that should be hot enough to saute the garlic. I just use 1 clove of garlic. That's about all I need. If you want to use another clove, you like it stronger, then definitely go for it. The thing with garlic is you don't need to brown it. You get to that point, it's going to get bitter. So this is something my aunt told me that's served me well over the years, is just wait till you smell the garlic flavor. Now I'm going to pour in crushed tomatoes. I've tried a lot of different brands, and I found that this one here, it's really good. Testarossa. I don't know how common this is, but just any kind of Italian brand crushed tomatoes will work fine. In the summertime, we grow the tomatoes, so we make sauce completely from scratch using the Roma tomatoes, so that's really good. And then to that, I'm going to add a 15-ounce can of Hunt's tomato sauce. And this is another reason why it's good to make your own sauce as opposed to buying the ragu and jar sauces. because those things are just loaded with extra sugar. They just load it up with the high fructose corn syrup, and that stuff's just nasty. I mean, I've never been able to eat it. Even when I was eating high carb and pasta, I never could stand it. And it's because I got spoiled. Okay. Now the reason for the tomato sauce is to kind of thin it out a little bit. Actually, I go the other direction when I make it from scratch with aromas, because they tend to be rather thin, so the tomato sauce gives it a little bit more body. But here with the canned crushed tomatoes, this will give it a little bit of a thinner consistency. It all depends on what style of sauce you like. Turn the heat down just a tad. Okay. And then with tomatoes, you really want to add some salt. It's just something that brings out the flavor, cuts some of the bitterness in the tomatoes, and that's just about half a teaspoon, maybe less. And sprinkle in some ground black pepper. Some dried basil. And that's the other thing in the summertime. We just grow a bush of basil. And fresh basil, just so much better. You really get that, especially get the sweet basil. And turn the heat down a bit more. This is some dried oregano left over from the summer from our garden. Just a little bit more. That's really all there is to it. I mean, it's very simple, very quick. And you don't need to cook it that long. 30 minutes tops, just simmer. I think there's a misconception with sauce. People think you need to cook it for hours and hours. And that's true if you're putting meat in it, like pork sausage or meatballs or meatballs. So yeah, you're going to need to let that simmer a lot longer to cook the meat all the way through. But with just a straight marinara, I don't know what the literal translation for marinara is, but it's taken to mean without meat. So it's just the sauce. You don't want to overcook it. If you're using fresh tomatoes, yeah, you probably want to cook it a little bit, let it simmer a little bit longer to get a lot of the moisture out of it. Or else it's just too watery. Okay. I'm going to let this simmer for about 30 minutes and then we'll come back and look at the finished product. Okay, the sauce has been simmering for about 30 minutes and I think it's pretty much done. So let me get it off the heat and over on the counter and we'll have a look at how to store it. Okay, the sauce is ready to be used. If you just want to put it on some pasta, yeah, nothing against pasta. I love pasta, and not everybody needs to eat a low-carb diet, or you don't need to eat strict all the time. So you could just go ahead and put that on a plate of macaroni or spaghetti. It's great. It also keeps in the fridge for a few days. That's why I use these containers. And you can also pop it in the freezer, and it'll keep there for weeks. These are the kind of containers you get from Chinese carry-out restaurants. We're in a rural area here, so the quality of the Chinese food is pretty nasty. Whenever you go into a Chinese place and see a buffet and it's got everything under the sun besides your Chinese food, Alaskan king crab legs and a salt machine, you probably want to go the other way. Anyway, every now and then we run out of these, so we'll just get a large hot and sour soup, dump the soup out, and save the containers. So, yep, you just fill one of these up. Smells pretty good. You smell the garlic and the herbs in there. So I'm going to use this tomorrow to make my favorite ultra thin crust low carb pizza, and I'll show you how to do that in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching. See you then.